Long before the arrival of the white man in Kenya, the traditional lakeside market of Kisumu, which would later be named Kisumu, was already a booming barter trade center. Natives from different parts of Nyanza converged here to do Kisuma or Sumo, that is, exchange of goods and foods.
Kisuma means a barter trade. I could come from my house with beans, it comes with meat, because I don't have enough money to buy meat and it doesn't have that beans which I have, then we can exchange.
The Luo called it Kisumu, but then the Wasungu called it Kisumu, and the Luo used to call it Winam. So the actual pronunciation should be Kisumu. If you look at Kisumu, it is really at Winam.
The city of Kisumu, as it is known today, became an important commercial and administrative center in 1901 when the construction of the Kenya-Uganda Railway reached the shores of Lake Victoria. The British who built the railway came with Asians who worked as assistants, artisans and engineers. These Asians later settled in Kisumu to become the biggest trading community to this day.
The town began at the clock, and it was like a Y shape, with most of it headed towards the lake. And those were the main shopping areas. From Jubilee Market, you would come to the fire station and then move to the shops. And on the other side, you would find the post office. And that was just about the town.
Once settled in Kisumu, the colonial administration and religious organizations embarked on a steady and progressive development of schools to build local capacity that was required in government, railway, post office, and others. These schools actually produced Kisumu's first professional elites and leaders.
There were 3 schools for Africans before independence: Kisumu Union, Kibuye Boys, and Kibuye Girls. We had 3 separate schools. Kisumu Boys, Kisumu Girls, and Kisumu Day at that time, and then DHT.
At the regional assembly, I was the chairman of a local government committee, and Kisumu naturally was my interest for development, and so we had to cooperate with the mayor, Matthew Kumondi, the late, so that things work well. You see, because the mayor was the person in charge of Kisumu town. And when Matthews died, His place was taken by Grace Onyango.
I joined the municipality as a teacher and also as a councillor. We were so many people and we were not favored simply because we were women. It was a fight. The mayor died in 1965. So I was elected or selected by all councillors due to the work I have been doing to them, because most of them were parents of this town. So I did my best without knowing that I was going to be elected the mayor at that time. So when the time came for the election of the mayor, I had the majority votes among the 6 people who contested.
With the swelling numbers of urban dwellers, the development of good housing units became a major necessity. Thus, the first African estates like Manyata, Nyalenda, Ondiek and Lumumba were built.
After 1970, I remember the first estate which came in must have been Lumumba and Ondiek. Those who came up in early 60s, then Makasepo, then Arena. Those housing, so they were improving housing. 8 states which have come up, around Polyview. You know, that Polyview, you can't imagine that less than 20 years it was a graveyard. Those huge story building, that's my graveyard. But we have seen what has come out of it.
Kisumu, Kenya's third largest city, has since undergone mega transformation. Indeed, it has joined the League of Africa's most beautiful cities. Besides, the city has developed into a major transport and business hub due to its geographical position at the center of East Africa, with access to Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC.
And with the KUP, we have seen the construction of more state-of-the-art schools within our beautiful city. If you look at schools like Angera, they were deep in the village. But if you now look at them, they are even better in terms of infrastructure, even the schools that were in the heart of the city. So in terms of education, we have seen serious infrastructure development, and this is very good for our city.
And today, if you look at those schools, each school they spent upward of 200 million in those primary schools. And the idea was to build a school that can last 100 years.
We have built 5 beautiful ultra-modern schools with the funding from the AFD and another 8 from the German-funded projects.
Kisumu is actually known for its learning institutions. There are over 11 universities here, at least, in this city. And if you are to look at the ripple effect of the learning institutions, it's of great importance because our people like reading. And I think Kisumu can be branded as a knowledge city. I was mayor of Kisumu from 2008 to 2013 March. With the help of the French ambassador and development partners, we developed what you call ISUD of Kisumu.
So ISUD gives a broad baseline of what we have in terms of the basic facilities. And these facilities include the road infrastructure, the number of health centers, the number of schools and basic facilities that people need.
Then KUP was born. The whole idea was to bring the citizenry of Kisumu back into commerce and improve the physical infrastructure that had not been renewed from the 60s. And that has culminated today into the opening of this social center, which was part of the renewal program. Today you can see it's a marvelous facility, and I must thank the government of His Excellency Professor Nyang' Nyong'o for actualizing the plans. We planned everything, funds came, but through his efforts and the city manager, they have actually now actualized most of these programs that were under KUP.
One of the big agendas we've had while as a city is one of urban renewal. And as you know, Kisumu is a city that has evolved with time and has seen over the last 5 or so years enormous change in the infrastructure.
While I was the mayor, is when Kisumu was pronounced a millennium city by Professor Geoffrey Sachs. When he came to Kisumu, we are the third largest city. Kisumu, if worked on well, we have inherited the name Europe. It's not for free, it's for the hard work that we are doing on the ground. If you can see, if you go to even city center, it's very clean. And I believe by the opening of the lake show, we are going to be at the center of things, because Kisumu is well situated. In Eastern Central Africa, Kisumu is a business hub for both these regions. We have very good roads. Kisumu is not in the dark, it is well lit.
With the new international airport, Kisumu City is now properly connected to the global village. As they say here, you don't just come, you fly to Kisumu.
Kisumu used to have a small airport, similar, almost in the same direction that the new one is. And it is next to the lake, and it brought people from different areas coming to see around. But in the mid-2000s, about 2009, 2010 there, the new airport was built and opened, and I think that has added to the image of the town and also to the people who are traveling. There have been many tourists now pouring around Kisumu to see the hippos and so on, and that has made a big impact.
Environmentally, the county government of Kisumu has pumped some fresh air into the city. The former oil market has been reclaimed together with the infamous Kachok dam site. Both are now beautiful parks for the people to enjoy. The former streets, crowded with hawkers, have been refurbished for safe walking.
Our city was bedeviled with the challenge of having traders on the streets, pedestrian walks, and such that everywhere you'd find all over the CBD people putting their wares. Now we thought, number one, to give these street traders an alternative trading place, and that's why we've come up with Chichwa. Chichwa is a market, meaning our market, and the primary objective of doing the pedestrian walks was to give people space to walk. A walking city is a healthy city. That's why we came up with an advisory from the Institute of Transport Development Policy, in which we worked out with designs to make most of our streets pedestrian friendly.
Chichwa Market 1, which is almost 80% done but already been occupied by traders. If you walk around the Kisumu city as we're talking right now, what we call the triangular, that's the heart of the city. We have seen a lot of non-motorized movement, improvement and development. Our city is now beautiful. If you walk along our major streets in the central business district, that's Jomo Kenyatta, Ngawa, you'll see there's now more space for people to move around. We have seats where people can relax. The kind of beauty it has created in our city. We now have lush green gardens besides our non-motorized transport, beautiful flower pots within our city. I see Kisumu being a green city in the sun, and a beautiful city along one of the biggest freshwater lakes in the world.
It's very important for a city to have what you call the breathers or the parks. The parks play a very important psychological and biological function in the city. They're a place where you can actually ease off tension, you can relax, you can get fresh air, and it's a break from the concrete jungle, so that much as we have good modern buildings and or even old nicely preserved buildings, but we have a place where there's greenery, there's trees have the biological function of cleaning the environment or the air in which you live in. So that is one investment we have made in the city.
We had that garbage which was there for long years, many years, which we called it the Ranguma Hill. Professor promised to clear it and it is not there. So the part which is remaining, I think, is going to be relocated. So we are going to have a very clean stadium, and the surrounding is going to be conducive.
So out of 8 acres that Kachok dam site is or was, we have successfully created 6.5 acres.
One of the latest developments in Kisumu City is the refurbishment of the renowned Kisumu Social Center. Even new extensions have been added with most modern facilities fitted inside. This has been done with the funding from the French government as part of the Kisumu Urban Projects KUP.
This hall, as you can see if you go inside, the offices were opened by Stanley Everett, and that was in 1959. And he was the chairman of the Municipal Board and African Affairs. Then the hall later on came, and it was opened by the governor, who was actually Patrick Rinson, if you can remember the governor of the Protectorate of East Africa, or Kenya by then. Might be to give you a background of all the sports that were played here. There was volleyball played outside here, in this court that you're seeing behind me. This was a volleyball pitch. There was a tennis court pitch just next to the place now where we have a beautiful park. And inside we have the indoor games. There was badminton, and there was table tennis. Other games also which were supporting this were like drafts, which were also played here. So this place was a sporting place. One game I was forgetting is darts. Darts also was a major game that is played at the Kisumu Social Hall. The other activities were like drama. There was also the music festival. I remember my first time seeing Tom Boyer. He came here to do a public talk. There was even, they had also weekend movies. If you can go there, you can see that it is a theater-like thing. And you can see there's a screen on the far left if you go inside there. And I also appreciate the children's playground, which is just here, as some of the new things that are brought in, and the restaurant, which will also make people who are sporting here not to go out, but to use the facility. The other thing also, there was a TV in the hall, and people would also come and watch TV. It was just exactly after the news they would close it up. There was also boxing in this hall. Sorry, I didn't mention that. And the coach was a person called Gabriel Makanyi. So to me, I looked at it as a recreational center. I appreciate what the Kenya Urban Project has done, that is to improve this place. I think this is one of the best things that happened to Kisumu.
Call a spade a spade. In this regime of Professor Nyang'o, he has done things that we can point at. And I believe he will leave Kisumu better than he found it.
Kisumu is really grown, and I like it. I'm proud of it.
I see a city where people will be doing business in world-class trade sites in our city. I see a city whereby you'll be having modern markets that will be comparable to any other city in the world. And it will qualify the heritage of Kisumu, of being Kisuma, where people used to come to do trade. And I see a future Dubai in Kisumu City.
The social center has had a history of up to 60 years of being a home to the early residents of Kisumu, most of who had their early childhood education here. With a funding partner, the French Development Agency under Kisumu Urban Project, we identified social center as one place that will have enormous impact on the society. Basically, it opens up opportunity for people to come and socialize, but also develop their talents, among others.
Let me welcome you to the new social center in Kisumu, which has been reborn. We remember that this social center used to be the center of cultural and artistic life, as well as intellectual discourse in this city. Here, he really built the image of this social center. And many people used to come from all over East Africa. I do remember, for example, that well-known people like Professor Bethwell were always here, together with ourselves, to talk to people at the social center. So we want to recapture this original image, the original place of the social center in the life of the city. It's very important for young people that we have a center like this one, because the urban space is full of young people who don't only need to work, but need to enjoy themselves by expressing themselves artistically and culturally. So welcome to the new social center, the new look. You are the people for whom this center is built. I only wish to thank the people of Kisumu for the commitment they have to change the county, the determination to ensure that we work together under the slogan Teach Tire, so that you earn what you work for and you work for what you earn.